Welcome to the Capstone. Here, we bring the AI compliance lifecycle together by defining the system first, its purpose, data, stakeholders, regulations, architecture, and assumptions. Clear scope comes before credible risk, control, and evidence mapping. At this point, you have the compliance toolkit: inventorying AI systems, tracing data flows, mapping HIPAA and GDPR duties, applying NIST controls, gathering evidence, and reporting governance. The Capstone puts those skills into a regulated AI scenario where a well-defined scope becomes the foundation for everything that follows. Before mapping regulations, establish a firm scope. What is the AI use case? What data does it touch? Who builds, operates, and is affected by it? What assumptions are you making? These answers become the source of truth for applicability, risks, controls, evidence, and remediation. A clear scope keeps compliance work from becoming vague or oversized. Your output is a concise scope brief that sets the boundaries for the entire Capstone. Choose a Capstone scenario that is specific enough to test real compliance judgment. A healthcare chatbot, clinical assistant, eligibility scoring tool, or AI SaaS platform can all work, as long as the workflow is clear. Look for meaningful data flows, real stakeholders, vendor involvement, and AI risks, such as bias, privacy, or unsafe recommendations. Avoid vague ideas like an AI healthcare platform. A stronger scenario gives you enough detail to map HIPAA, GDPR, NIST CSF 2.0, governance controls, and supporting evidence. For example, imagine a patient submits symptoms before an appointment. The AI summarizes the intake, checks relevant history, and suggests how urgent the case may be. That can speed routing and reduce clinician workload. But the system is not making the medical decision. Nurses or physicians review the recommendation, using patient data under strict access, privacy, and audit controls. A strong scope definition starts with purpose: what business problem the system solves, and what role its output plays. The same model can carry very different obligations depending on whether it informs, recommends, automates, or replaces a human decision. Be explicit about the objective, users, decision role, expected benefits, and forbidden uses. In healthcare, this distinction matters. Supporting a clinician is very different from unsupervised diagnosis or automated denial of care. Data classification begins by following each data element through the AI lifecycle. Ask what it is, where it comes from, how it is used, where it is stored, and whether it reappears in monitoring or retraining. Personal data, sensitive attributes, operational data, model metadata, and security logs each carry different obligations. The same field may have a different risk profile depending on whether it supports inference, training, validation, analytics, or long-term retention. Compliance also depends on knowing who is connected to the system and what role they play. Start with owners: business, model, data, security, privacy, legal, and compliance. Then include the people who use or are affected by the system, including reviewers and support teams. Finally, map vendors and platforms. A RACI view keeps this practical. Who is responsible? Who is accountable? Who must be consulted? And who simply needs to be informed? Once the scenario is defined, the next move is applicability. Ask what data is handled, who uses it, where they are located, and what role your organization plays. FI connected to a covered entity points toward HIPAA. EU or UK personal data points toward GDPR. NIST CSF 2.0 can guide cybersecurity even when no law requires it. Internal AI governance may also apply based on risk tier, model impact, contracts, or criticality. For the Capstone, HIPAA scoping starts with role. Are you a covered entity, business associate, or subcontractor? From there, trace every PHI touchpoint: where data enters, how the model uses it, where it is stored, and how outputs leave. That mapping drives the privacy, security, and breach notification analysis. Document minimum necessary access, encryption, audit logs, access controls, vendor agreements, and escalation assumptions, so your legal conclusions match the actual AI workflow. Treat GDPR scoping as a sequence of gates. First, clarify your role: controller, processor, joint controller, or sub-processor. Then map the data: personal data, sensitive data, profiling, automated decisions, and any human review. Next, ask whether EU or EEA individuals are affected. If GDPR applies, identify the lawful basis, transparency duties, rights workflows, retention, transfer mechanism, and whether a DPIA is triggered. The capstone output should be documented reasoning, not just a yes or no conclusion. Think of NIST CSF 2.0 as the organizing backbone for the capstone system. Its 6 functions translate cybersecurity work into a governance operating model. What must be governed, identified, protected, detected, responded to, and recovered. Internal AI governance then makes that model specific to the organization through inventories, risk tiers, approvals, oversight, monitoring, and reporting. The key is ownership and evidence. Every control should have a responsible team and a record that proves it is working. Architecture assumptions turn scope into something testable. For the capstone, name the major components: user interface, application services, APIs, model endpoint, databases, logging, SIM, and admin tools. Then show what those components touch, including EHRs, identity providers, cloud services, model vendors, analytics, ticketing, and support platforms. Most importantly, separate production from development, testing, monitoring, and retraining. Those boundaries determine where risks live, where controls apply, and what evidence you need. After the components are defined, trace the data's full journey. Start with collection, then pre-processing, storage, model calls, outputs, monitoring, and deletion. For each step, record what data moves, where it is stored, and who can access it. Capture every log source, including access, error, audit, and security events. Also document vendor APIs, sub-processors, residency assumptions, and contracts. Finally, identify where humans review, escalate, override, and record the final decision. You've now defined the capstone foundation: the AI scenario, purpose, stakeholders, data, regulatory context, and assumed architecture. That scope makes the next work practical. From here, you will map risks to controls and evidence, identify gaps, and build a remediation roadmap.